Welcome to From Scratch, the podcast where our guests share their journeys of success and failures. My name is Joko. I'll be your host. Today I'm here with Tonia Koss.
Yes.
And if this type of podcast is something that is of interest to you, make sure that you hit the subscribe and share it with somebody that needs a little bit of inspiration in their day. Now, Tanya, welcome
Yes.
to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I am thrilled to be able to sit here with you in your gorgeous studio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that, like we briefly talked about, I've been putting together for a while now.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like the podcast, I was able to start building it, and I am working from scratch myself. So
Right, right. You're a great example of what it looks like to
thank
start
you.
from scratch.
Real quick, if you are a business owner and would like to be a sponsor of the podcast so that we can mention your business either at the beginning, middle, or at the end of the episode, I offer 3 affordable sponsorship packages that fit basically anybody's need and budget. This is a great way for you to connect with the local community and a dedicated audience. I'll put a link in the description down below if you want to check that out. Now back to the podcast. Now, before we dive deep into, you know, your success
Mhm.
today, share some stories from when you were little, from your,
Oh, fun.
younger days, family, school, this type of
Sure,
stuff.
sure. Well, I've been in Plainfield now for 20 years, but only for 20 years. So before that, I'm originally from Arizona. So I was there till I was 10. Then to Michigan. And if I were to say what my hometown feels like, it would be Michigan. Michigan is definitely that's where I would call home, even though I've been in Plainfield for 20 years. I grew up there on a farm, a small farm, just a family farm. It was just 19 acres. It was small. And we had pigs and chickens and turkeys, awful birds. So those turkeys were so mean. But that's how I grew up. Was very rural. Our town had 2,000 people in it. Very very small little town. So grew up. My dad was a teacher. Mom stayed home with us. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. So
Okay.
that was definitely growing up and being the eldest on a farm and doing farm things.
You were probably setting the example for the other kids, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah, or the 3 of them ganging up on me
Oh
sometimes,
boy.
that's kinda the way that goes, but I love them now.
I can relate to that because I'm the oldest
Yes.
well, 3 kids as well.
Okay, yep,
So
yep,
I can totally relate to
yes,
that.
yes, you get to be the mini parent, but then also, I've heard it say, like, the first pancake, how it's always kind of a little bit of a mess. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's mhm,
You're a
yeah,
little
yeah.
burned on one
Yeah, a little
side and
yeah,
then a little.
right, right, yeah.
Okay, so when did you move? Until what age were you at the farm and doing, living with your family like that?
Right, right. So I went to college in Michigan, and so stayed right there in Michigan. That's where I met my husband. He's from the Chicago area, so we met there in Michigan, and we graduated from that university, and we stayed right there in Michigan for a while. We had our daughter, and then in 2004 we moved to the Chicago area.
How was that transition from farm life to college to big city life?
It
Like that's
Big difference, really big difference. So I was a teacher. So I graduated from college and became a teacher. And I taught in a very rural district. Like the kids were milking cows in the morning, coming to school. It was lovely. I loved teaching in that way. I had great rapport with parents, and it was just a really fun way to teach. And when knew we were going to be moving to the Chicago area, I said I want to find another farming community. And our realtor at the time said, "Oh my goodness, Plainfield is a farming community." It's not. Maybe it was. I think it was at one time, but by 2004 it wasn't. So,
true.
so very different. And I taught 1 year in Plainfield. So I taught 12 years or
Okay.
11 years in Michigan, 1 year in Plainfield, just down the road from here. And uh, I loved the kids. The kids, of course, were great, but it's a very different way of teaching than the rural. Like I was the sixth grade teacher. Like it
Okay.
wasn't multiples. It was one first grade, one second grade.
Oh
So I
wow.
was the sixth grade teacher. So, and to go to so big.
Give me a day off in your teaching days, right? Like
Oh,
something.
wow.
I'm sure you have
Hmm.
actually tons of memories with the kids and
Sure.
interacting with them. Give me what was a regular day like while, being a teacher?
Okay. Most of the time I spent as a middle school teacher.
Okay.
And so sixth grade there was still elementary. So when I started, it was there. So I'll go to the middle school part.
Okay.
Middle school was super fun to teach. I taught theater and English. So I was right in my element. I love both of those things so much. And so it was just that typical day of kids after kids after kids each hour and getting the opportunity, whether I was teaching in some way with a novel, or at the time I loved sentence diagramming, which is like a super nerdy thing that I love to do. And or it was theater and teaching them how to have that confidence on a stage and projecting their voices. And I so much enjoyed all of that teaching. And to kids who have now, man, they're in their 40s now, and some of them are still in theater.
Wow.
And yeah, I really enjoyed
Is
that
there any
time.
one kid that stood out?
Absolutely.
There always is, isn't there?
Absolutely. Actually, there are three. There are three, and the three of them were super close friends. And uh, they've since one's in Chicago, one's I think in Florida now, and the other one's in New York.
Oh, wow.
And two of them are still in theater and doing their theater thing, and they were so incredibly special to me, and still are. Yeah,
Do
and
you stay in touch
I
with
do
some of
social
them?
media. Through
Okay.
social media, we're able to stay in touch. I get to see what their lives are like and what they're up to. Yeah.
So if someone were to meet you back then while
Mhm.
being a teacher,
Mm.
because in my memory, teachers are, how should I say it? I don't want to say hard on people. You know
Oh,
what I mean? Like they were like strict, like, hey, you gotta do your homework and all of
right,
that.
right.
So if someone were to meet you back then,
Hmm.
what would they have, like, who would they have
Right,
met?
right. Well, I wasn't that teacher for
Okay.
one. I would have parents ask me all the time, like, "My kid never has homework. Is that why? Why?" And I'm like, "Because they work really hard. I'm going to work them until they're exhausted during the day. But when they come home, I want them to be kids. I want them to enjoy that time. I don't want you to have to worry about
Yeah.
their homework." And so, so I was I was pretty maybe tough in the classroom, but yet there was a purpose to that. But I just loved what I was doing. I raised, in all of those years, raised my voice once.
Okay.
And I will say these now 40-year-olds still call me out on it because it was their class that I did it out of all those years. And I had a sense of humor and just really enjoyed what I was doing. So I think looking back, would have seen me as one of the teachers that was there to make a difference in kids' lives. I wanted that from the start. And even when I left teaching, that was always the goal.
So you said you went to college
Yeah.
in
Yes.
Michigan. What was the college about? What you graduate in?
Yeah, so Grand Valley State University, both my bachelor's and my master's degree are both from Grand Valley. Love Grand Valley. We still go back every year for homecoming, if not more. It feels like home every time we go back. And so my degrees are in English education, both
Okay.
of them. Yeah.
So that's why I'm assuming you decided to go into teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was teaching something that you've always wanted to do?
I did. I think it was safe.
Okay.
So trying to decide as that high schooler, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Grand Valley was, I loved Grand Valley right from the start. As soon as I saw the campus, it's a beautiful campus. I wanted to go there. But I really wasn't sure what to do other than teaching. My dad was a teacher, so I got to watch that and thought, yeah, that makes sense. And I still today love teaching. I love helping other people have those aha moments, and that stuck for sure. But I'm not sure I really even thought there would be something else for me because that's what I saw. And
Okay.
so I don't think I was really encouraged to think of anything else. It was like, oh yeah, you'd be a good teacher. Do that. Okay. So,
Also, it wasn't like, because I talked with Denise on my previous episode. Like,
mhm,
some people have that internal, I want to become something.
mhm.
So I'm assuming teaching was not necessarily something from the inside that you were like, I think I'll be good at that. I want to become
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah. I think it was safe, and I received just affirmation that yeah, that you're good at this. You know,
Okay.
and uh, when I would teach, I'd get evaluated. There were always those moments of like, oh yeah, that was really good. So I love languages. I love words of affirmation. So people telling me, "Hey, you did a good job." Okay, I will keep getting that
Exactly.
recognition, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, so I'm not sure that there. I've always had this feeling of wanting to help others, like wanting to have them know themselves, having them have those aha experiences. It's one of the reasons I loved theater so much was you could see these, especially the kids that had zero confidence maybe in math or science or something, but they'd get into theater and just shine. And oh my goodness, I love that. So I think that was part of me for sure. It was like, how can I make a difference in others' lives? And teaching obviously does that every single
That's
day.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the only way to get to, especially to kids' hearts,
Yeah.
so to say. I
Yeah.
mean, sure, you cannot get to everybody's hearts
Yeah.
because I'm sure there's also kids that are like, "Oh, we don't like you, Miss Cross."
I don't know. I don't know if that happened. Yeah, probably.
I mean, we've all been young at some point, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've had quite a few obstacles
Yeah.
before jumping into the teaching career.
Sure.
I'm assuming. Share a little bit of that. What were some of the obstacles that you faced before getting into that career?
I think it's been so long ago now for me. The Now I can look back and think, man, there were a lot of obstacles. I don't think I saw them as obstacles at the time because I was, well, for when I was student teaching and planning a wedding at the same time. So
Oh, wow.
we graduated in May from college and got married in June. So I was planning that. I also was part of the executive board of my sorority at the time. So I had a ton of time with that and just trying to interview for places. Like
Oh, my
there was
goodness.
so much going on. At the time, I just did it. Now I can look back and go, wow, there were a lot of obstacles that I think I was young and dumb enough not to realize they were obstacles.
I don't
But
care about that.
yeah, right, right, exactly, exactly. Now I look back, I'm like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do what I did then. Now, there's that was crazy. Yeah.
So, what moment in your teaching career
Hmm.
made you realize enough with teaching?
Yeah.
I want to do something else.
Yeah. So I'm on my fourth career now, just as a little FYI there. Um, I, I will say I loved teaching for 11 years. The 11 years in Michigan in the little rural town was great. I thought I would teach until I retired. In fact, I've had moments of if I would have stayed with teaching, I'd be retiring right now from teaching. And so I'm like, oh wow. uh, but that
It's
12th,
funny how life works, isn't
right,
it?
right, exactly. And so that 12th year is when we moved here, and how the different. I wasn't fitting the mold of teaching here. One of the things I made sure to do as a teacher was call for each month, I would call all of my students' parents once a month, and I had a record of that to tell them something I was doing good, or not I was doing good, they were doing good. So
Hmm.
something that, and some of the kids, you really have to find it, find that something good. So I would call and let them know, hey, your kid was awesome today and did this or this or this. And when I was doing it here, as soon as the phone would get picked up, it was, what happened? What was going on? What did he do? What did she do? And it
Oh,
was
my
this,
goodness.
and I actually stopped doing it because
It will scare people.
it was, yeah, yeah. And uh, so I think there wasn't necessarily a moment. It was just this realization that what I loved about teaching was different here. And not to say that it was bad, it was just very different. And I wasn't cut out to be a teacher in more of a city, suburbia, I
Hmm.
guess,
Hmm.
setting. I was meant to be a teacher in a rural setting.
Do you think? I mean, now that I think about it, so do you think besides the location, so we have rural and city
Hmm.
environment, besides that, also the time frame of teaching, meaning like the
Yeah.
because we live in different times now,
Oh,
like
right, right.
society now, even compared to like 10 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
two different things.
Very different. Yeah.
So do you think that played a role as well, maybe?
Oh, I think so. I look at teachers now and I give them so much credit. It's because it has been 20 years since I taught. It was 0405 was the last year that I taught. And we didn't really even have much as far as technology
Yeah.
yet. It was still so new, and the kids definitely didn't have phones or social media or anything then. So uh, it was starting to change, but nothing. Like, we had whiteboards, we didn't have smart boards. Yeah, and so there are a lot of things that I never had to learn
Hmm.
because I was out before then. But definitely, it's definitely different now. Yeah.
You said you had four careers.
Right,
So
right.
was teaching the first one?
First one. Yeah.
Give me just a brief name the
Super
other
brief,
three.
super brief. So in that 12th year of teaching, realized I needed something else. So I went into sales. And so I was in sales for 12 years
Wow.
and loved that for 11 of them. Absolutely loved it. And so I had company car, and I was working my way up the ladder, which is just something that I do. And in fact, the theater part of it, if you're familiar with Hamilton, it's fantastic. And being in the room where it happens, I find myself all the time. That's like my theme, is I want to be in the room where it happens. And so in sales, all right, who's the best at this? Follow her. Do what she's doing, and I'll be a success. So I did that for, again, 12 years, 11. Loved it. That last year, something changed, and it was me that changed. Not that the company was phenomenal.
Right.
It was something in me that changed. And at that time, then I went into ministry, and I was in ministry for 8 years and
Okay.
became a pastor and loved that. I just loved what I was doing there too. But then that changed also. And then it was, now what? And that's what I'm doing now.
That is. See, from all these careers, it sounds like you really want to help community focused.
Oh, yeah, yeah. In all of those, the goal is to help people in whatever way I can do that. And it doesn't matter the situation, who I'm with. It's thinking, okay, how's that going to help this person? How is that? Uh, are we thinking about this group of people? Are we thinking about what that's going to look like? Like it's always been very much people focused, community over
That's
whatever money.
what was the defining moment, say, to jump from the first to the second, the defining moment from the second to the third. What were
Right,
those
right.
moments?
It was, I think each time, just that it was an unease, just that feeling of it was over, that it became uncomfortable. We all enjoy our comforts, right? Yes, it's fun to branch out, do new things, and I'm not somebody afraid of change, so that's great. But when it becomes uncomfortable, it's that moment of like, man, I don't know if I'm still supposed to be doing this. And I think in each of those situations, it just became uncomfortable enough to go, yeah, there's something else I'm supposed to be doing. Now, this last time, it was more of a surprise. And so that's the from scratch where I'm at now. It was, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I'm a little old for that. So, it's this last time was a little bit different. It was more unexpected, but I can see where, no, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing now. You can look back, right? You look back and see
Absolutely.
all of your experiences and what you've done, and say, "Oh, yeah, I see the teaching. I needed to have that great background. I see the sales part of it. You need to have a backbone, and be able to get the no's and get the ignoring or ghosting or whatever. And then with ministry, just really seeing people and seeing people at their best, but also at their lowest sometimes, and being able to sit with them in that and sit in being uncomfortable. And now I can see all of those different things and go, okay, now this is what I was meant to do, and had to create it myself, but this is what I was meant to do.
At the end of the day, we have to create it
Yeah.
ourselves, right? Like
Yeah.
all the opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was there ever a moment where you felt like I've got it all figured out? Like,
Anybody who
I
says yes, that's I was okay. It's over, right? No, no. It's still daily learning something new and having to pivot so much right now. Wow, I thought that this was the best direction, but now I've learned something and realizing that there's a better way to do that, whether it's social media, editing, anything like that, or how I've created. I have like a curriculum that I used with Pre-IL, and so this is the curriculum. I thought, yep, perfect. Oh, but I really like this. But if I put in this, then I have to change this, and so that pivot and that willingness just to change is really important.
So it's willpower over anything, would you
Yeah,
say?
yeah. I don't have a boss telling me you have to get up at this time and this is when you have to be here or there. And so there's a lot of that internal willpower that you need to just keep moving forward.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now, I know it may sound cliche, but did you ever feel like quitting at like, I mean, obviously you did, right? Like we've
Well,
had
those,
those
sure. Yeah, yeah. But
for
now, yeah. There are definitely those moments and I love what I'm doing. I coach engaged couples to build that rock solid foundation for their marriage. Like that I spend all day in love, right? It's beautiful. Uh, and there's just nothing better than that. But I also look at, am I supposed to be in this place? Because there aren't a lot of people doing what I'm doing. And if they are, they're part of some type of a like a religious organization. If you think like premarital counseling, or you think or pre-Cana in the Catholic world, or it's something religious, or it's like marriage counselors who also meet with engaged couples. Like, oh yeah, we'll do that too. But my lane is completely engaged couples. That's who I work with. And so I think sometimes, is it that there aren't a lot of people doing this because it's just there's not a lot of people doing it, and so that leaves it wide open for me, or there's a reason that not a lot of people are doing it. So,
it's like a
um,
two-edged
did I?
sword.
Yeah, did I choose incorrectly? Like what's happening there? And so, in some of those moments of feeling like it's not going as fast, maybe as I think it should, those are those moments when the negative stuff starts going through your head, and that's when the quitting might go like, yeah, that's I can romanticize the idea of going to work for somebody else and putting in my hours and coming home and earning a paycheck that way, uh, and I make that, I romanticize it. That's the best
Mm-hmm.
word. I can make that sound so much better than maybe what it would actually be for me.
Right.
So, yeah, so I've definitely had those moments, but I have the best support system that I could possibly have. And that's number one, my husband. He he is that safety. He's been at the same job for 20 years. And
Wow.
so, because of what he does, I get to do what I do. And I've been able to make these decisions and change and pivot. And because he's so rock solid that I can count on him. And so, having him as that support system, he sees how important this is and sees how much it like lights me up to help these couples. So it's yeah, without a support system, I may have quit by now, but he's phenomenal.
Talk to me about moments where you were in, how should I say, like where you were having a bad day,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how did he, help you overcome, and not only, how should I say, with the problem, but also emotionally,
Yeah,
like motivate you again.
sure.
Give me
Sure.
a few examples.
He's, well, for one, we're not new. We've been together since 1989. So, yeah, we know each other pretty well. So he knows what to say, what not to say, for sure. But he's such a great listener to where even if I need to vent, he gets that. Then there are times that I might need advice, but for the most part, he is so good at just listening, and he knows the difference between me just being upset and saying things, or like, okay, this is a legit thing that I need to help with. But he's so good at that. And he's not my only support system. I will say I have a daughter who's fantastic as well. She lives in the city, and she's so great. I'm gonna give a huge shout out to my therapist, who is also such a great support. I've only been with her for a year, but she's taken me just some different ways of seeing things and has been with me since the beginning of my business. So she has listened to all of that. I have a networking group that I'm with that also they've done it. They've been there. They've been at the beginning going, then they keep telling me, just keep going, just keep going. You're you're on the right path. You're doing this right. So I think that's so important. And anybody starting is, yeah, you could look back and say, well, I'm doing it on my own. I'm a business of one. It's
Hmm.
just me. But without a support system, there's there's no way I would still be going in this direction. But yeah, number one, Rick, my husband, he's the greatest guy, and I got him.
What makes your heart light up when you are like, when you're having, say, a tough day or something, and you wake up and you're like, oh, okay, so I can't wait to meet that person. What is it
Right,
exactly
right.
that makes you feel like that?
Oh, I from the very first couple I met with and met in another location, I got in my car and it was just tears, emotion like crazy of this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And because I get to use the teaching part of it, I'm teaching them about how to know themselves. That's the way this is different is because I want them to know who they are themselves first, personally first, and then, all right, how do you bring that true you, that genuine you into your marriage? Like it's not, I don't come into it as it's already a we. It's like, okay, here we are, let's come together. And so to have ahas, to have experiences of like, oh, I never thought of that before. It's like, yes, like I did that. I, and all it was is I asked the right question.
Can you give me an example?
So an example of that.
Yes.
So
You don't
trying to
have to
think.
mention the couples
So
by
yeah, oh no,
names,
I would.
obviously.
Yes, everything is very confidential with
Right.
me. So I never do that. So we were talking through listening and how important it is to listen, and just the different types of listening, and you've been with people who have done this to you, so you can be that samer or the upper or the downer. And so examples, if you're one upping somebody, and so you tell me that you just went to a concert, and I say, oh, I've been to that concert before too. I got to go backstage. I know the drummer personally, and I'm one upping you. You're like, why did I even talk to you? Like, I don't even care. And then the downer, like, why would you go to see them? I saw them once. They were awful. It rained the whole time. And like, they're the downer, right? And I think what we want to do is be the samer and say, like, oh, yeah, I've seen them before too. That kind of stops the conversation. It doesn't lead anywhere. So you always want to be the questioner. You listen, and you're obviously very good at that already. And so you
Thank you.
you listen to what somebody has to say, and then you ask questions about that. Or just even saying, well, tell me more. That is so simple to do. If you can't think of what you want to ask them, to say, well, tell me more about that. And so this engaged couple, the one person that was there, he was like, I've never thought of that before. That's so good. I've never thought about that before. He said, I'm just not going to do that in my marriage. I'm going to do that at work. I'm going to do that. And I was just like, yes, it's something so simple, but yet those ahas that are going to take him. I mean, that's the rest of his life. He's going to be able to use
True.
that, and something so simple. So any little thing like that, where it's like, oh, I never thought about that. It's like, yeah, love it.
I'm sure in that moment, like literally, because I can see it in your face.
Yeah.
So you're like celebrating,
Yes.
right? Because
Yeah.
those are and what you do now with the counseling, I
Hmm.
guess this is the affirmation, right?
Sure.
That
Sure.
you,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
teaching, that you were saying that, yeah, I love like when I
Hmm.
hear that I'm doing a good job
Yeah.
because it means that I'm not doing anything wrong. I mean, obviously we make mistakes and
Oh, of
everything,
course.
but nobody's perfect.
Yeah,
So
right. Right. Yeah.
nobody's
So
perfect.
that's. I have not heard that. That was really good.
You know where I heard that? The Office,
Oh my
the
goodness.
show.
Yeah, I don't remember. I of course watched The Office, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I thought it's a fun saying.
that's fun.
Nobody's perfect.
Yep.
Like,
Wait,
what are you having
what?
a stroke or something, right?
Oh my goodness, that's fun. That's fun.
So you and your husband, a daughter,
Hmm.
one daughter,
One daughter. Yep. She's 28.
28. God bless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks. Thanks.
What does she do?
She is a theater director. So
Okay.
she's in the city and she directs plays. She's very, very good at what she does. And she also she she has a day job, helps with, paying rent. And she works in the Sears Willis Tower, um, and does amazing things for a company there, and does a lot with event planning. And she's so good at what she does. But yeah, so she went to school in theater,
Okay.
and is yeah, she has a really good eye for seeing,
Set design and
oh
stuff
my
like
goodness,
that.
all of it, and seeing how just this, oh, let's try it this way, let's do this. And every time I've seen one of the plays she's directed, I'm just blown away by her
Nice.
vision. She's really, really good. Yeah.
You did mention that she's also been a great support
Hmm.
system for
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
and your career. In what
Hmm.
ways?
She has watched me through all of that. So my last year teaching, she was in second grade. So she's watched all of it. So during those years of her in middle school and in high school, I was in sales at that time. So it was more travel and more just meeting a lot of people. So there were people in and out of our house, even a lot of times, just getting to know them. I think she watched me really put myself out there, and she got to see me high highs, low lows. And so then what I'm doing now, she's watched me do this. She's watched me leave jobs and start jobs. And I think, one, it's helped her understand that it doesn't, just because you maybe went to school for this one thing doesn't mean that that's your thing forever. So now when I talk to her now as an adult, I think there's this mutual understanding of, we're just constantly growing. And I think she might know better than a lot of kids. And maybe it's the only child thing, because she was everything for us, right? She there was no getting around us. Like, we were there with her all the time.
Hmm.
But she understands growing and changing, and that her parents weren't perfect people, and that we were really wanting the best for her and lift her up in any way that we could do. And she in turn knows how to do that for others. And I watch her do that with her friends and her partner, but she also does it for us. Like, we can see her now as an adult turning that and being uplifting toward us. So it's amazing when you have that,
Hmm.
you see the adult that you're like, wow.
I
You're-
made that.
yeah, right, right. Yeah. Yeah, you turned out great. Yeah.
Do you see yourself in her?
Oh, I do. And some of the things that I probably would have loved to have done, I've watched her do. She's traveled. She actually got to spend 3 months in Russia. It was an amazing experience for her. So to be able to travel like that has
Yeah,
been incredible.
absolutely.
I so much loved theater, band, anything artistic like that, and she just has run with it. She went to school for theater, and
Nice.
so many of the things that, even maybe dreams I had for myself, that I watched her. And if that's not what she wanted to do, if she wanted to do something else, great. But that's what she loved. Just happened to be what I loved too.
So, you touched upon a very interesting point here. You said dreams that you had about yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, from our conversation, I got the feeling that you basically got to live your dreams
Hmm.
through your jobs,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
Was there any dream that you were not able to live, like something that
Mm.
you were like, that's unattainable. I don't think I can do that right now. Was there anything like a moment in your life that, you felt like you are disregarding a dream?
That's probably the only kind of thing that I wish I would have tried that never did, would be going into the acting world in some way. And not that that's necessarily over, but now it's, hey, maybe I'll be an extra sometime. We're in Chicago, right? We can find a way to do that. But I think that would be it. And yeah, I'm now, especially looking back, been so career minded. Like, what I wasn't just I teaching wasn't just a job. I was a teacher. I dressed the part, I spoke the part, I did all the things that teachers were supposed to do and not supposed to do. And
Yep.
same thing with sales. I dressed certain, like all of that. I wasn't just, that wasn't just my job. I
Right.
was all of it. Same thing with ministry. So I tend to jump all in, and it becomes who I am, not just what I do.
What about your love for counseling
Mm,
newlyweds or
hmm.
engaged couples?
Yeah.
When did that spark start?
Right. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when my
That's after the
last,
ministry, right?
yeah, so that job ended, and it was not expected. And then it was, oh my goodness, now what? What am I going to do? And so I started making the lists of what am I good at? What do I enjoy? I knew that I loved writing. I loved speaking. Give me an audience any day. And I one of the people who actually enjoys public speaking. And so how can I put that to work? I love teaching others. I love giving people those aha experiences, um, teaching people about themselves. Like I have not found any kind of assessment, whether it's the like DISC assessments or Enneagrams or any of those different kind of assessments that I haven't loved. Like I love them all.
Right.
Teach me about myself, and then I love to teach people about themselves. So okay, I want somehow to add that. And then, where have I been successful? And one of the places I've been the most successful, I feel like, is my marriage. Like we love to be together. We are each other's best friends. We have had super high highs, super low lows. Like you can't do that in almost 32 years of being married. But in all of it, it didn't matter what was going on. We were good. Like that we knew that was never a question.
Hmm.
So, uh, okay, so how do I put these things together? And the idea of coaching engaged couples was like, man, I think I could do that. And then so I spent a couple months putting together what will these sessions look like. So I go through 3 90-minute sessions with couples, and they learn conflict and money management and all the things that maybe they haven't thought to talk about. And what's so fun is they think they know everything about each other. And it's the sweetest thing. And I would never say to them, like, yeah, right. But but inside maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really took some time, like months worth of time to figure out, yeah, this sounds like the right path for me. And even up until just a few months ago, I was still questioning that. Like, this is the right thing, right? Like people want this, but the more actually really married people I talk to, the more like, yeah, this is so needed.
Hmm.
And I think that the idea of premarital counseling is something that people have thought they have to do. Like they have to do that with their church or they have to do that with their pastor. And I want to change that a little bit. Like I think this is something that you get to do. And I also know people aren't as afraid of therapy anymore or afraid of having other people speak into their lives. So I think it's a really good thing. And I don't want for somebody maybe who doesn't have religion in their lives, I still know what I'm doing is really good. And and we talk about spirituality too, because I think there are three things where people end up splitting up: money, sex, and spirituality. Those three. So to get them aligned on those three things, that's going to take them through their whole marriage and making
Hmm.
sure. So that's what I want. I want, okay, who are you? Who are you? And then by the end of our time together, all right, how does this look like bringing the two together? And I say all the time, I'm great on my own. My husband's great on my own, but to put us together, we're a force. Like we
Yep.
are powerful together. And
Yep.
that's what I want for every married couple for sure.
Is your current state, your current career, which you imagine success looks like?
Yeah. Because it's for me just being able to pour into others and having them the time that they've spent with me, something changes in their life for the better. So if I can spend some time with a couple and I know that something they heard, something they felt, something that they saw in each other, something that they've learned from their past that, wow, that's why I'm that way. That's why I think that way. And it's going to change something for the better. That's how I know I've been successful. And I think that through all the different things I've done, that's what screams success to me is knowing that positive change has happened. Yeah.
From your experience, obviously you've had also a plethora of careers, and I'm sure there's also been other smaller things that you've done throughout your life, like
Mm-hmm.
smaller jobs, things like that. Uh, do you think like there was a lesson in all of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is there a common lesson?
Common lesson. There is. I would say that the common lesson is not to hold on to things too tightly. When holding on to it and just not being able to let something go, it's going to stop you from experiencing something that might be even better. And I know that it can be super hard sometimes, especially if it's something you love. And but just that not holding on, having that feeling of just okay, I might lose this, but what will I gain in the process? What will happen? And sometimes it's scary. Sometimes you don't know what's around the corner. I know that's what just happened with me. I had no idea if this would work, if this was the right idea, but if I wouldn't have let go of something else, then I wouldn't have what I have now. So for sure, I think through all of it, that lesson I've learned over and over and over again. Like, all right, I'm gonna let this go. Let's see what comes next.
How do you learn to let things go? Because I mean, it's
Yeah.
easier said than done, honestly. So, what is the defining moment that kind of makes you push over the edge, so to say,
Mm,
like, it's okay to let it go, I can
yeah.
focus here? Like, what is that
Right.
moment like?
I think it's taking both and realizing which one brings more peace if there's a decision to be made. So there's a decision. Okay, if I choose this, how does that feel? If I choose this, how does that feel? And one is definitely going to feel more chaotic and one's going to feel more peaceful. And I don't think we're meant to live in chaos. I think we're meant to live a life that helps others and has a sense of peace to it. And so I think that has worked for me time and time and time again.
We all leave first impressions.
Right, right,
How would you like people to remember you after, meeting with
right.
them? What would you like
Yeah.
them to remember?
I want people to walk away even feeling better about themselves. Like, or, oh man, I'm really glad I met her. I'm really glad that we had that conversation. And I think that just comes with getting to know people more and asking good questions, right? Asking questions and listening to somebody feels as close to love as anything else does. It's just a connection that you end up having. And I think that's really what I want people to feel is like, oh, there was a connection there that felt really good. And I think about people years from now, like they're having their 5-year anniversary, 10-year anniversary, 20-year anniversary. I don't want to go too much further because I don't know if I'll be alive, but we have,
You will be.
that's all. Thank you. But to be able to come back and say, you know what, that time we spent with you was so important, and we're still together, and we use lessons that we learned way back then. Like that's the ultimate, right? That would be great.
What is it exactly? What do you
What
call
would
it?
I
I
call
don't want. I don't
myself?
want to
Yeah.
call it a counselor.
No, a
It's
pre-marriage coach.
coach.
Yeah,
Okay,
pre-marriage
coach is a
coach.
good word. I
Yeah,
like
I
that.
I like I even like pre-marriage better than premarital, just
Okay,
because as soon as somebody hears premarital counseling, they think they know what that
right.
is.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying.
And so what I do this pre-marriage coaching, it's a very different feel, I think, than what some of those
Absolutely.
other things are. Yeah, yeah.
Counseling in general, I feel like it has a a negative connotation to it.
Sometimes, yeah.
Because like when people hear counseling, immediately in their mind, it's like, oh, something's wrong.
Right. Something has to be fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's not at all what this it's not. I'm not trying to fix anything. It's figuring out again who they are individually, how we can be that rock solid, that couple that everybody looks at and goes, "Wow.
Right.
What are they doing that, it makes them so great?" Yeah.
All it takes is to have good communication.
Huge. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And communication with all of it.
Yes.
All of it. There's nothing that's left out of like, okay, but we don't talk about that. Like, no, all of it. You talk about it. Yeah.
So, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that wants to jump into something less tangible like your
Yeah.
career?
It starts with just so much thought and, things like a business plan is something that just simply to sit with somebody who's maybe just a step above where you're at and like, okay, how do I go about doing this? And there are so many people that would love to sit, and it might be, it could be a family member, could be a friend, could be somebody who's just like, you know what, let me sit with you and let's talk through this, let's figure this out. And to really put a lot of thought into it first, but understanding that whatever is on that paper is going to change. Like,
Hmm.
and being so open to conversations and changes. And I've had so many conversations with people. And again, people really think they know what I do. And so that there's lots of advice, or people who have been married for it's a couple, they've been married for over 40 years. And they're like, well, this is what you should do. And immediately I went into like defense mode. I'm like, yeah, I already thought of that. I thought of that too. I know that already. And like, that's what's going on in my head, but not to let that come out. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's a good thought. Because sometimes, and this happened with them, it brought me to a different thought that they didn't give me, but it sparked
Hmm.
something. And so having conversations with so many different people and knowing that some opinions are going to be awesome and some are just their opinion. It's just
True.
what they're thinking, but it could spark something else.
Now, we did not talk at all about where people can find more info
Oh,
about you. So
yeah.
please share where can people find more
Right,
info?
right. I would say, as far as social media, go to YouTube, Tonia Koss. That's where my more long form videos are. I do have shorts and reels on others, but YouTube, I would say, go there for social media because the long forms are there. And then I have preaisle.com. Pre-aisle to book me. That's the easiest way to book me, and then
That
YouTube
is
for
social media
social media.
for
Yeah,
social
yeah.
proof, as they say,
Yes,
right?
yes, there I am.
We
Yes, you'll
need
find all my
social proof.
videos.
With these remarks, I would like to close the show. I
Yeah,
feel like I hope you got something out of
I
it.
absolutely did. This has been wonderful. What a great conversation. I
Thank you.
just wish the best for you in this
Thank you.
and all of this because it's yeah, you make it very simple to just sit and talk. And it's a beautiful place to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, I try, just like you, I keep learning.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's why the way you said it, if everything is thrown at us at once, we wouldn't know to appreciate it. We
yeah.
wouldn't even handle it, honestly.
It's true. Totally true. Yes. Yep.
So, if you like this show and took something out of it as well, make sure that you subscribe and share it with somebody to inspire their day as well. Thank you, Tanya, for being on the show again.
Thank you, Joko.
I would love to have you in the future again
I
and
would love to do
to
that.
do an
Yes.
update, right?
Anytime, anytime. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
But this will conclude the show for today, and I will see you in the next episode.